Discovering Alabama is a production of the Alabama Museum of Natural History.
Years ago, schooling was a function of simpler times. Class size was usually small, the teacher was fully in charge, and learning took place on a basic level. The walk to school each day, across field and forest, across meadow and stream, was itself a direct learning experience. Today, things are, different. Neighborhoods are changing. Our style of life is changing. Even traveling to school is a wholly different experience than that of yesteryear. Our society and our schools are changing.
Hi, I'm Doug Phillips. You know, we often think back nostalgically on the days of the one-room schoolhouse. We think of it as a simple time when kids would come to a little place like this to learn without the stress and pressures, free from so many worries we face in the modern age. But that wasn't necessarily so. Those simple times were often simply tough, and many a child spent more time working in the field than he did learning in the classroom. Fortunately, our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents recognized that an education could be valuable. And fortunately, very fortunately, there were teachers who could indeed bring value to education. These were resourceful teachers who could take book learning and help children relate it to the world around them. A primary goal of Discovering Alabama has always been to provide teachers with a resource they can use as they teach our children. Yes, we love to bring you the wild wonders of our state. We love to hike the backcountry and canoe the streams. But first and foremost, we want to add value, relevance, and meaning to the education of our children. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll be presenting a series of shows honoring our teachers and offering a glimpse at how Discovering Alabama, Alabama Public Television, and others are providing resources for the classroom. We'll look at some innovative programs for integrating traditional subjects in ways that help teachers meet the goals of the Alabama course of study. We'll see how APT is providing teachers with an extensive library of instructional shows for professional development and classroom education. Come along with us as we preview the next 4 weeks of Discovering Alabama episodes with a focus on Alabama's most valuable resources, our teachers and our children.
This program is about a land unknown to many people, a land that in many ways has maintained its native natural wonders, a place of bountiful backcountry, forests, streams, and wildlife more diverse than can be found in much of the inhabited world. Come along with me as we explore the wild wonders of this land. Come along as we discover Alabama.
Welcome to Discovering Alabama, and welcome to the classroom.
Alabama provides a natural classroom full of opportunities for learning. The realm outdoors provides a ready environment, if you will, for teaching all of the disciplines required by the Alabama course of study. Since 1985, Alabama Public Television has been bringing you Discovering Alabama. During that time, the series has become the APT program most used by teachers in Alabama classrooms. APT makes this series and many other valuable resources readily available for teachers at every grade level.
Education is our mission. Alabama Public Television was created to serve the teachers and the citizens of Alabama by providing them with education, and specifically created to serve the schools of Alabama.
50 years ago, when Alabama Public Television got its start, educational television was putting a teacher up in front of a chalkboard in the classroom with a TV on her and sharing that around the state. We've made huge leaps and bounds since then. We now have virtual field trips and so many resources that teachers can use to show their kids what's happening outside the classroom.
Discovering Alabama is happy to bring the outdoors into the classroom. And we're excited to know that the series often inspires the classroom to step outside.
Out here, children can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch how their classroom studies relate to the world. But where does the teacher find the resources she needs for implementing this hands-on approach to learning? Given the complexities confronting schools today, educators seeking to bring environmental education into the classroom face a daunting challenge, a challenge requiring innovative strategies and a collaborative effort. In 1995, several organizations accepted the challenge to develop cooperative solutions to Alabama's environmental education needs.
The Alabama Wildlife Federation was instrumental in bringing together a group of people a few years ago to form a committee to look at what are we doing in Alabama in terms of environmental education in our schools. And there are a lot of good efforts going on out there and have been going on for some time in the environmental education arena, but part of the problem, we're all pulling in different directions. Working together as a strong, focused group, we could have much better results at trying to get environmental education as an integral part of the teaching curriculum, not just something that occasionally a teacher may want to pull in and use with their students.
Legacy wants to support this in every way we can. I think it's wonderful that all of these agencies are coming together to further environmental education in the state of Alabama, and we are definitely involved and will continue to stay involved.
One of the problems with public education is the fact that they're bombarded from all sides. One from the Board of Education with a course of study that they must meet and they must prove that they have met. One from parents who are bringing their own wishes into the classroom, whether it's for higher academic standards, different academic standards, or different social standards. And one from just television, the medium, not just television, but magazines and comics and movies and television, and all the pressures combined make it really hard for a teacher to do their job. It makes it a much different job than it was decades past.
In recent years, educators have begun to emphasize a curriculum that integrates content, that relates all disciplines, science, math, history, language arts, around a common core theme. In Alabama, that natural theme is the nature of the state itself.
But the question remains, where can teachers get the resources they need to implement a nature-based approach to learning? One answer is an innovative new program called Discovering Our Heritage.
All right, let's think about how we're going to plant our garden here. We have a 3 by 12 section. Okay, so how many squares is that going to give us to plant?
36.
About 36, okay. A new program that we're implementing in our school this year is Discovering Our Heritage, which basically takes the social studies curriculum and integrates it in with the environment so that they go hand in hand, so children can see the benefits of studying both simultaneously and the impact that one has upon the other. I mean, its core is social studies and the environment, but through that, science is looked at, mathematics comes into play, and certainly language arts.
Discovering our heritage is the importance that the natural world has had on our culture and on our society and on the way this nation was built. This nation was built because of its natural resources. The communities in this nation were built upon its natural resources. And our heritage, our history is dependent, and our further growth as a nation and as a people are dependent upon our natural resources.
I like to approach teaching through integrated units and a thematic umbrella. For instance, in social studies this year, we have studied how the colonists have settled in the different 13 colonies and how each colony was unique, especially because of its landforms that were there and the natural resources. And so when the children realized that, they realized that that shaped almost the personality of that colony.
The DOH program is a program that uses the course of study standards, which is what we're required to teach in Alabama. And it does it so that environmental themes are presented in a factual way, and they're interspersed throughout all the subjects that we teach. We've made sure that we've met those standards, but yet we've done it in a way that's exciting and meaningful and relevant to the child.
DOH, Discovering Our Heritage, is a wonderful program for teachers. One, we provide free training to teachers. We do a big workshop each summer at the Alabama Wildlife Federation's headquarters in Millbrook, Alabama. And we put the teachers up at a local hotel. We provide for their meals. We provide all kinds of support materials for them. We provide training in Project Learning Tree, Project Wild, Aquatic Wild, Project Wet, Legacy, and other resources that we can find that are available out there.
Discovering Our Heritage receives a tremendous amount of support. We receive training services that are put on by the central office that are very beneficial, and that shows they are behind and backing what is taking place with that environmental and social studies curriculum. I feel like each individual teacher, though, has flexibility.
I doubt there's ever been a school kid who didn't look at the work before them and ask, what am I having to do this for? Well, the Discovering Our Heritage program pretty much eliminates that doubt by giving social studies, science, math, and other subjects a common purpose and a direct linkage to the natural world around us.
Teachers today are realizing that environmental education is an excellent means for imparting more than environmental information. The natural environment is an ultimate learning lab for helping children develop academic skills through a process of active learning, applied learning, conducted continuously throughout the year. The Discovering Our Heritage program provides an innovative approach for such continuous learning, whether the school is in a rural area or an urban setting. The program draws upon a variety of educational materials with proven effectiveness for teaching in the outdoors or the classroom.
DOH is valuable because it makes it possible to use environmental education every day. It just makes sense to teachers. And with the proper training or a little bit of training, people can take this program and just weave it into what they're doing in the classroom. That when you pass a test, you not only pass a test, but you have acquired knowledge that's going to help you forever. And in elementary school especially, I want them, as they're learning, to be enjoying it. I want them to find learning stimulating, and I want it to make sense for them. Parents like to become involved in activities if we go out on nature trail or if we take field trips, and they'll do anything, especially at my school. We have great parent volunteers, and yeah, they become involved. And they're especially thrilled that their students come home and talk about what we're doing in school, and they do further research even when they're not required to do so.
The best aspects are its focus on hands-on learning, its focus on experience, its focus on speakers from the community visiting the classroom, its focus on the community as a whole is one of the strongest points of that program.
The citizens of the state of Alabama are growing more concerned with their natural resources and environmental quality. So with linking the schools to an issue that the community see as very important is a natural progression. The Alabama Cooperative Extension System is the largest outreach, university outreach system in the country, and in Alabama we have offices in every county. So it's a logical, natural fit for the Cooperative Extension System to partner with the Collaborative for Environmental Education in working with our local school systems, our school teachers and parents in adapting Discovering Our Heritage into the classroom.
We know that schools are going through some tough times financially right now. However, Discovering Our Heritage could be an answer to some of those problems. When schools are having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on textbooks, Discovering Our Heritage is a program that is free or relatively inexpensive to introduce and implement into a school. It mainly involves an investment in time instead of money.
If the schools don't come in and fill this need of children getting out in nature and not just being out, but kind of being taught how things are, the cycles are connected, I think we're going to lose something valuable.
Why do you think this might be ready to be picked already? I think integrated learning like this with the environment makes learning very palatable to kids. I mean, it gives them something they can latch on that is relevant to them and has meaning. And anytime you can create a curriculum that is based out of children's needs and desires, then you reduce children that are not involved because they are invested in it.
That child who's now sitting in first grade is going to someday, 20, 30 years from now, is going to be making those same decisions that we're asking adults to make today. And if we don't provide them with a sound education, one that encompasses and involves learning about the natural world and the environment, then they're not going to be able to make those wise decisions because they're not going to have the information. So we want to give them the information so that they then have what they need to make those decisions later in life.
Alabama Public Television and Discovering Alabama are pleased to be a resource teachers can use in bringing an innovative program like Discovering Our Heritage to their students. And APT is using some innovative technology to assist teachers.
We are actually more than broadcast. We have all sorts of programs for teachers, but now we have online support. We have the capability for teachers to link to other services provided to Alabama Public Television through PBS. And through our APT Plus service, teachers will have access to all kinds of extended resources and extended current events that are available nationally.
One of the things that I've been working on predominantly is APT Plus, which is the new internet resource that we're offering free of charge to all of the schools and the teachers and the students throughout the state of Alabama. It isn't just the printed word, it's the printed word plus a wealth of resources.
Yes, we've come a long way from the old one-room schoolhouse. Fortunately, many of the values that could be learned in a place like this are still being taught throughout Alabama. Over the next 4 weeks, Alabama Public Television will be featuring episodes of Discovering Alabama that exemplify how the series is used by state school teachers. First up is a look at the prehistory of our area through the eyes of those whose histories are still being written.
Each year, the third grade classes take a field trip to the Manville Indian Festival, and this year we're using it as an introduction to our study of Indians. This is not my first trip to Manville. I've been as a parent on a field trip with my own children and as a teacher in the classroom. And each year I take away something different. I capture more of what it was really like. I learn things that I may have missed before, and it's a learning experience for me as well as for them.
Sometimes we don't have to look too far into the past to find inspiration for the future.
The first Earth Day was celebrated in 1970 in San Francisco, the brainchild of a man named John McConnell. Selma's annual celebration was begun in 1994, the brainchild of local folks, and in particular, Meadowview Elementary principal Janice Stewart.
Well, one thing, Earth Day should be every day, but of course we get caught up in our daily lives and we forget. So by having a big event like this, the children are going to think about it. It's going to be in their mind. They're going to be aware of it. It's springtime, sort of a renewal. The leaves are coming on the trees. So they're really starting to think about it, and it will carry on.
Learn how to do different stuff, find out what kind of pH is in the water. You just drink it and find out. You can just drink it and find out, but that might be a dangerous way.
While there's a lot to be learned from festivals and grand events, there are days when a teacher just wants to spend a little quality time with their students in the swamp.
The kids are in the swamp just to experience firsthand what we've been talking about in the classroom. And I keep hearing a lot about computers in the classroom, and I'm all for that. But what I'm seeing now is that children need more adult peer interaction, and they do need to come out and experience things firsthand. It's the hands-on, the being out there, it just makes it come alive, makes it relevant. Kids want to learn about it if they've experienced it firsthand.
A rich natural history helped define who we are as a state, as a nation. But that relationship between cultural heritage and natural heritage has changed over the years. As we, as our children, face the future, will they be equipped to make the tough decisions the ever-changing world will demand?
In our modern America of accelerating change and expanding urban society, Alabama is increasingly recognized for its abundance of wildlife.
For our wealth of game animals, such as white-tailed deer, wild turkey, dove, and trophy bass, and for a remarkable variety of non-game creatures, from familiar critters like the bluebird to rare species like the flattened musk turtle. And Alabama's abundant wildlife isn't found just in amusement parks and petting zoos, but in the wild. In this state, we can still witness these creatures in their natural habitat.
Science, math, language arts, geography, history, social studies. There's a lot to learn. And just think how much more there is to know since schooling was done in a place like this.
The advancements in science alone are enough to boggle the mind. And when you think about it, every day we're adding another page to our history, another chapter to our social studies. But one thing hasn't changed. There are teachers who bring value to education, creative teachers who take book learning and help children relate it to the world around them.
Alabama Public Television and Discovering Alabama hope to continue our role in providing resources for our wonderful teachers. And we hope you'll join us for the next 4 weeks as we present a series of shows exemplifying how we strive to help teachers meet the academic requirements of the Alabama course of study, while also helping them in their personal commitment to nurturing and educating our children.
This program is supported by grants from the Solon and Martha Dixon Foundation, the Alabama Wildlife Federation, working for wildlife since 1935, Legacy, Partners in Environmental Education, and the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources.